The Saskatchewan Equine Expo is in Saskatoon this year. Horsemen and women from all over the province will gather together to learn at clinics, compete, and enjoy everything that the equine industry has to offer. Hello and welcome to another edition of Max Magazine. I'm your host, Brad Grass, and I'm excited about today's episode because ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a cowboy until I learned that you actually had to ride a horse, and that scared me to death. But then later in life, I actually rode a horse and found out it was kind of cool, exciting, really, which is why I'm excited about today's episode, because today, Max cameras take you to the Saskatchewan Equine Expo in Saskatoon. But if you're like me and you're stuck behind your desk, you can always check them out online at saskatchewanequineexpo.ca. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, they've got competitions, and they've got clinics and demonstrations, everything for the horse nut. One thing that amazes me is the men and women that work with these beautiful horses on a daily basis. I mean, it ain't easy. Watching these demonstrations, it's downright difficult. And oh, kids, do not try that at home. They are amazing, but the horses don't start out that good. No, they have to learn to walk before they can run, which brings us to the trainer challenge. This is fun. 3 trainers take 3 untrained horses and train them, and the one who does the best job of it over the weekend wins the championship prize. Even last year's champion is there defending his title. I wonder who's gonna win.
Sunshine in my mind, the blues have all run away. Everything is better, 'cause you are the one who taught me how to feel this way. I had smiles for everyone, but I used to tuck them away. I held on to them tightly till you came along, showed me how to give them away.
All 3 trainers will be wearing a cordless mic as we get to watch some of the best trainers in the country competing in the 2nd annual Trainers Challenge here at the Equine Expo.
The Trainer Challenge, I won it last year. I think it was a pretty tight race. It was a good competition, and they invited me back to do it again this year, I think as a past champion or whatever you want to call it, and it's great to be back. Last year when I did it, I didn't know what to expect, and I had a lot of fun, and it gets in your blood a little bit, I guess you could say. I like doing it, and I might be doing a few of them now.
As soon as she started to think about being with me there, I took that pressure off and started backing up. And then same thing right here, just get out of her way.
I'm from St. Rose, Manitoba. Spent a lot of time with horses, cattle. Team roped. I went to a lot of ropings with my dad and my sisters. My dad wanted me to get training horses when I was about 15, 16 there, and then it just kind of grew from there.
The first day, or certainly in the first hour, is all about building a foundation of respect and trust.
Some might take a month before you get on them and ride them, and some might take a day. And you can get loping one in a day, and it might take a month or 2 to get loping in the next horse. Or it's by far, like, every horse is different, just like humans. Everybody's different.
Started working pasture when I was about 16 and managed PF pasture, managed a co-op pasture, and I'm presently at home ranching and training horses in Bracken.
I want to just keep them as quiet as I can. If I pull in here, it's going to pull them into the middle of the pen, just like that. If I step across his eye, I'm going to turn him this way.
I just try to keep them where they still want to be with you. If they aren't with you, you aren't going to get too far with them.
Right now, I'm just asking if I can come into his face. See if we can get along. He's looking at everybody else. He's kind of enjoying the rub. I'm going to step away here, and I hope he kind of looks for me.
I guess the colts dictate the timeline. I've just learned that less is more over the years, and you do less and you get more in the end with them sometimes.
Good. Now if I've done my homework right, I should walk up and saddle him like he's old Joe. If you're going to get on a colt, you got to go straight up, keep your balance, so that you're not pulling off balance. Straight up, in, twist, and I'm here. And he stayed really relaxed, but I didn't pull him off balance. Good. Just keep them comfortable.
In about 2 hours and 45 minutes of more time invested into this filly, she'll be expected to ride over a bridge, to walk over a tarp. This is 2 other requirements in the final trainer's challenge on Sunday evening.
The other 2 guys, you don't watch now. This is my little secret, so you can't see what I'm doing here, okay? I just try to get all those spots, you know, that where the cinches went and stuff, get the scratching her there. Make sure that she thinks that I'm an okay guy rather than putting that saddle on and tightening it up, and now she's thinking that hey, it's all right having him rub me and scratch me around there and stuff.
Let the games begin. The arena's all yours. Thank you.
There, she's got a nice feel there for when I do go to send her somewhere.
Look at that tonight. That's the bad way.
There's nothing here. We're going to trot off a little bit, see if I can pick up her right lead.
How about that?
Here. Lots of cheering.
Little scary tarp from yesterday. It's going to be her idea, right?
Blue thing over here is kind of cool too. We're gonna get over that. Look at that.
Yeah, so we get her steered to the left. Steer to the right.
Who's counting the feet?
And get her neck right here a little bit. Good.
Now homework time. Did it work what I told her? Foot. Yes, please. Thank you.
I'd give up athletic ability for a great heart. If they've got the heart and the desire, you're going to get way further than if you have a great athlete that doesn't want to come to work.
When you see a horse with hardly any training on him and you can maybe lead him around and within the next few days be on his back with a saddle, maybe have a bridle in his mouth, and just his progression going down the road, it's unbelievable what you can do with these animals.
Well, as you can well imagine, training, taking care of, feeding, riding your horse takes lots of stuff, right? I mean, you need your gear, your feed, your tack, all kinds of stuff to spoil your horse with, which is why the Equine Expo is so great. They've got an amazing trade show with the traditional gear, but then they've got all this innovative new gear to check out too. Medical supplies and needs, all kinds of innovative tack, all kinds of things that you can check out. Canadian horse trainer Paul Dufresne. His website's on here. He's going to be holding demonstrations and clinics, everything for anyone who wants to know more. Is that a lion?
When your horse starts to understand this really well, you can do this with your hands. You don't have to just do it with a whip. You can improve your circles. So first you're going to do it with your lead line, and then you're going to do it with your rein. And I'll show you how we do that, okay? Always liked playing with animals when I was a kid. Trained all kinds of animals. You know, I just started playing with horses, and people say, well, you can't do that, because I used to treat my horses like my dog. I used to train them, and I read every dog book and every horse book there was, because that's the only thing I could read and I'd enjoy. But I would put together things, then I'd go experiment and play with it and whatever, and darn it, it would work pretty good. And people say, well, you know, that's not a dog, that's a horse. Until they'd come at lunchtime and they'd see my dog and my horse laying in the front yard in town, where my parents only had a 1 acre parcel. We didn't have a farm, so I'd go in for lunch, and my dogs and my dog and horse would lay down in the yard and wait for me. And then we'd go riding through the rivers and whatever else. And after a while, people just quit saying that, because it was obvious that you could. You could do all kinds of things with horses, and yeah, they could behave themselves. I mean, you know, I didn't have any tack. Couldn't afford it. So it was a lot of fun. I hope people learn a lot. It takes a while to learn though, and that's the whole thing is, you know what, learning is something you never stop, because life gets boring if you do. And that's where I see it. I always say, you know, you have to enjoy the journey. You have to, if you don't enjoy learning every day, and that's what horses teach me. They humble me every day. There's always something about something that I go, you know, I can do better than that. I need to do justice to the horse there. Why were they stuck? What is there that I did that made it difficult for that horse to understand that? And if you keep doing that, I remember in the session today, I kept saying, the horse mirrors you. So if there's something you don't like in what the horse is doing, then maybe you need to look at yourself and fix that. So when you're training, horse training, if you really care, you're doing personal development. And that's why a lot of times when I get to clinics, I get to see a lot about people. They don't have to tell me. I see a lot of what they're all about. Is there as much weight on the inside fore as on the outside fore? Because most of the horses tend to travel falling in on the circle like this. So what you might want to do is to tap a little stronger on the rib cage. Then I'm going to show you how to do a flexion. If you have a really good method, a good technique, it will work with every horse. Now the question is, what's the person's ability to adapt it to that horse? When you're taking any technique, the skills that one person might have versus another person could be different. So whatever you teach them, you have to be able to adapt it so that it can work for that person, because they come to the training situation with different skills. You know, we keep talking about the horse has to respect us. We have to respect the horse too. It's always mutual. So the only way you do that, you have to know yourself, and you have to know what respect is. A lot of people don't know what respectful is until they actually experience it. When you actually train and you're learning something, it actually has a real quiet feel to it. It's a calm feel. And that's the part that's when most training happens, is when it gets calm and quiet like that. Then you put together, and then what happens is that now you can add energy to it. And things get quicker and quicker, but there's always that inner calm. It shouldn't feel like it's going to bounce off the walls. So that's an important part in the training aspect. Same thing as if I say, here, I need you to move here. Oh, I need you to back up. I need you to move here. Over here. So when he starts to move around me all the time, but now look what's happening. So what we're trying to do, for me, it's not about what I can do, it's about how I can show you to be effective. And if you can go home and then you can do this on your own, then I've done what I came to do, is to empower you, not to show you how much razzle-dazzle I might have. Okay, so the whole idea, that's fine for an exhibition because that's your opportunity to do it there. But for me, it's still a training session. Every time I do that, I question it as an educator. What did you show people? Did you just try to impress them, or did you show them how you could be compassionate towards your horse's needs as well? So for me, it's a matter of trying to show how much this horse can dance, because he is a Spanish dancer. He is a cool horse. On the other hand, I have to be compassionate towards what's enough, what's too much, and to make sure that he's okay about what he's doing. So there's a big balance. That's one of the reasons why I like this guy. He really makes me think things, because finding the balance for him requires a lot of attention. So horses that do that will only help you grow as an educator if you give a darn.
Even the University of Saskatchewan Western College of Veterinary Medicine is getting involved by sharing some very special care information with horse owners.
We're doing a bunch of demos just for the public. Some of them are kind of based more on the kind of new horse owners. Some techniques are things you're going to see when you have your own horse. And then this afternoon we're going to be using this guy for our physical exam and body condition scoring. Just kind of use the anatomy just to let people know where things run, because it's kind of tough to tell, especially like for the heart. You don't really know that it's kind of right behind the leg.
Some of the teeth are overgrown, so we have to take some of that down with the power float, but screws are nice and straight across.
I just trimmed half of the foot, trimmed the heel back, and the other half I just left it the way it was. So you can just see the difference. So this is nice and round, and this one here is kind of hooks in a little bit here. The heel kind of rolls under a little bit.
The key to a happy horse is a healthy horse, and part of that health is good exercise. And what better way to get a horse to get good exercise than to give him a job to do? And that takes us to the Ultimate Canadian Cow Horse Challenge. I mean, here, horses and their riders show off the skills that they've developed over time in countless hours of practice. And at the Expo, they get to strut their stuff.
We've been showing in cow horse since he was 3, and really loving it. And he loves working cattle and loves being out doing cow horse with me. And we just we make a pretty good team, so we're having a lot of fun.
The Ultimate Cow Horse competition involves 3 events. It starts with herd work, and then the reining, and then it has 2 fence runs.
Me, myself, I struggle a little bit with the reining. You know, I like the cow work portion of it because I just get to do what the cow does. I don't have to think about it too much. So it's, for most cow horse guys, it's a little more of a challenge than the rest of the events we have to do.
Some of the challenges you run into is you get all sorts of different types of cows. You get some cows that run in and they're fast and they're scared, and you have to rate that cow and be careful that it may want to just run straight into that fence looking for its cow friends, right? Or you have a soft cow that doesn't want to go anywhere, so you have to drive that cow down the fence. You just have to be able to read a cow and have cow sense.
And then there's the whistle.
Once you decide on which animal you're keeping out, you don't want to change to a different one, or you don't want to let it back into the herd. There's a pretty big hefty penalty for losing your cow back into the herd.
Cow horsing's, you know, it's a little bit of a small world. It's kind of new to Canada. You know, I've myself only been doing it for 6 years, so it's a pretty good deal. Hopefully here, like I said, it's the first year we've come out here, and you know, everything seems to be going good so far.
All right, he said, let's go. That's the finish. Brad Peterson goes back.
horses get aggressive because everything's going at full tilt, right? We're chasing a cow around the arena, so that horse, this becomes a pretty fun game for a horse, so he wants to get in there and take charge, so.
In my opinion, 15 hands, 15-1 is the ultimate horse for me. You know, I can do anything on it from rope a bull to cut a cow, so that's kind of the program we're aiming at.
In the herd work particularly, you also have 4 people helping you sitting in the corners. The 2 guys in the back keep the rest of the herd kind of settled, and they can sort of, their positioning helps to keep your cow moving.
Usually your goal is to be able to put your hand down in your herd work, and even when you're boxing a cow where that horse is doing it all on its own. We're just using our legs to support him and make sure that they hit those stops, but for the most part that horse is loving what he's doing and he's watching the cow.
Some cattle will really give you a run for your money, and some will let you show your horse really well.
Watch this mare work off the punches, ladies and gentlemen. Get her set up for reshaping. Wow!
They love it, you can tell. Like his ears will come up and he'll just be ready to, you know, where is he coming now? You know, where do I need to be to stop him? And yeah, they just love it, or most of them do, but he really does. The horse I can do, working cow horse, can probably go out and do almost anything. It's a real challenge to get them to do all 3 well, but once you can have them doing all 3 well, you've got a really, really well broke horse. It's quite a feeling to sit on a horse and just feel him work, and just feel him do it on his own and work the cow, and there's nothing quite like it. And you know, if you've done, you know, herd work, or even like, and especially going down the fence, if you've been down the fence on a horse, you're kind of hooked on our sport for sure. That's what gets everybody, is the cattle part.
The Equine Expo is chock full of great horsey stuff, but the highlight has got to be the Equine Extravaganza, featuring the Parade of Breeds. Oh, this is amazing. Just imagine all the horses of every shape, size, and color, all decked out in their finery, prancing around the arena with their riders and drivers sitting tall. I have to say that Saskatchewan has a strong and talented equine industry, and I'm so proud to be able to share what I learned about it with you here today, right here on Max Magazine. Until next time.
Okay, we'll see if she's gonna handle this again here. Try to not clap if you don't mind, just for a minute. Just looking that pretty good, just hold off if you can. Keep holding off there, please. Not that I don't trust her, but there's a little rope trick, and I don't know if this will be my signature. Maybe they won't invite me back again, but a lot of people are like, can you do your thing again? Sure.
What, when he was a kid?
No, I just homeschooled.
If you have program ideas that you'd like to see on Local On Demand, write us at max.local@sasktel.com. Max Local programming is now available online at maxonline.sasktel.com.